Every night, before you close your eyes, you have a powerful opportunity. Most people think sleep is only a time when the body rests, but your mind is still listening. The thoughts you carry into the night can influence the way you feel, the way you think, and the way you approach tomorrow. The final moments before sleep are like planting seeds in the garden of your mind. If you plant fear, regret, and worry, those feelings can grow. But if you plant gratitude, hope, confidence, and purpose, your mind begins to create a different future. Imagine waking up with a calmer heart. Imagine starting your day with more energy, more focus, and a stronger belief in yourself. The change does not begin tomorrow, it begins tonight. Before you go to sleep, give yourself a few quiet moments to reflect, moments to forgive, moments to remind yourself that you are still growing. Because the person you become tomorrow is influenced by the thoughts you choose today. Lesson 1. Leave the weight of today behind. Many people go to sleep carrying the problems of the entire day. Instead of resting, they continue living the same moments in their mind again and again. They replay conversations that already ended. They revisit mistakes that cannot be changed, and they think about situations that are no longer in their control. Slowly, without even realizing it, their mind becomes heavier. What should be a time of rest turns into a time of mental pressure, and they fall asleep with the same stress they were trying to escape from during the day. But every day has an ending. No matter how difficult, confusing, or exhausting a day feels, it still comes to a close. The sun sets, time moves forward, and life continues. You do not need to carry every disappointment into tomorrow as if it belongs there. What happened today was part of a chapter, not the entire story. And you are allowed to close that chapter without rereading every painful line before sleep. Before sleeping, you can create a small but powerful shift in your mindset. You can tell yourself, today is complete. I did what I could. Tomorrow is a new opportunity. These words may seem simple, but they carry deep emotional strength. They remind you that you are not defined by a single day. They remind you that effort matters more than perfection. And they remind you that every sunrise brings another chance to try again, to improve, and to grow. Life will never be perfect. There will always be challenges, unexpected situations, misunderstandings, and moments when things do not go according to plan. No one is exempt from difficulty. Even the most successful people experience days filled with failure, doubt, and frustration. The difference is not in the absence of problems, but in the response to them. Life does not reward perfection. It rewards resilience. Your strength is not measured by having a perfect day. Your strength is measured by how you respond to an imperfect one. It is found in your ability to keep moving forward even when things do not go smoothly. It is reflected in your decision to try again, to learn and to continue growing despite setbacks. And one of the most important parts of that strength is learning when to stop carrying what no longer serves you. Before you sleep, give yourself permission to release what you cannot control. Not everything needs to be solved at night. Not every problem needs immediate attention. Some thoughts only grow heavier when they are held too tightly in a tired mind. Let them go, even if only for a few hours. Let your mind breathe. Let your emotions settle. Let your body rest without the burden of unresolved tension. Let go of the mistakes not to forget them, but to free yourself from being trapped by them. Let go of the pressure not because responsibilities do not matter, but because constant stress does not help you handle them better. Let go of the need to have everything figured out, because clarity often comes with time, not force. A peaceful mind creates a powerful tomorrow. When you rest without carrying the weight of the entire day, you give yourself the chance to wake up with more clarity, more energy, and more emotional balance. You begin the next day not as someone recovering from yesterday, but as someone ready for what comes next. And in the end, this simple practice becomes a quiet form of self-respect. It is the decision to treat your mind with care, to honor your limits, and to trust that not everything must be solved before you sleep. Lesson 2. Practice gratitude before sleep. One of the most powerful habits you can create in your life is gratitude. It may look simple on the surface, but its effect on your mind is deep and long-lasting. Gratitude is not about ignoring problems or pretending everything is perfect. It is about choosing to notice what is still good, even in days that feel heavy or difficult. And when you practice it before sleep, it becomes a way of gently reshaping your entire mindset over time. Before sleeping, take a moment to remember the things you are thankful for. Do not rush it, and do not force anything big or dramatic. Gratitude does not always live in major achievements or life-changing events. Often, it hides in small, quiet moments that are easy to overlook during a busy day. It can be a kind word from someone that stayed in your mind longer than expected. It can be a small achievement that no one else noticed, but you worked hard for. It can be a peaceful moment, even if it lasted only a few seconds. It can also be a lesson you learned from a mistake, a conversation, or a challenge you faced. When you begin to focus on gratitude regularly, something powerful starts happening inside your mind. Your attention slowly shifts. Instead of only searching for what went wrong, your mind begins to notice what went right. Instead of only remembering stress, it starts remembering strength. Instead of only seeing problems, it starts recognizing small pieces of progress. This does not mean your life becomes perfect, but it means your perspective becomes stronger. Gratitude changes your perspective in a quiet but meaningful way. It reminds you that even during difficult seasons, there are still blessings present in your life. Sometimes they are obvious, but often they are hidden beneath stress, routine, or emotional fatigue. When you intentionally look for them, you begin to realize that your life is not empty of good things, it is just that your attention has been focused elsewhere. Many people make the mistake of waiting for happiness before they become grateful. They believe that once their life improves, they will finally feel thankful. But in reality, gratitude often works in the opposite direction. It is not happiness that creates gratitude, it is gratitude that slowly creates happiness. When you train your mind to appreciate what you already have, you reduce the constant feeling of lack. And when the feeling of lack decreases, peace naturally begins to grow. A thankful heart sees opportunities where others see problems. It does not mean challenges disappear, but it means your mindset becomes more flexible and open. Instead of feeling stuck, you start thinking differently. Instead of focusing only on what is missing, you begin to notice what is still possible. This shift can influence not only your emotions, but also your decisions, your confidence, and the way you approach life. Before you close your eyes tonight, take a simple but powerful pause and ask yourself, what is one thing I can appreciate about today? It does not need to be a perfect answer. It does not need to be something big. Even a small moment of kindness, a small step forward, or a simple experience can be enough. The purpose is not to find the biggest blessing, but to train your mind to recognize that blessings still exist. That one question asked consistently every night can slowly transform the way you see your life. Over time, it builds a habit of awareness, positivity, and emotional balance. And as your perspective changes, your experience of life begins to change with it. Lesson 3. Speak positive words to yourself. The words you say to yourself matter more than most people realize. Every day there is an ongoing conversation happening inside your mind. This conversation shapes how you feel, how you see yourself, and how you respond to life. Even when everything around you seems silent, your inner voice continues speaking. And over time, that voice becomes your belief system. Your mind has a natural tendency to believe the messages you repeat most often. It does not always judge whether those messages are helpful or harmful. It simply accepts them as truth when they are repeated consistently. This is why self-talk becomes so powerful. If you constantly tell yourself that you are not good enough, your mind slowly begins to accept that idea, and your confidence becomes weaker without you even noticing it. Small doubts grow into bigger fears, and hesitation starts replacing action. But the opposite is also true. When you intentionally remind yourself of your potential, your mind begins to develop strength. At first, it may not feel natural. Positive words might feel unfamiliar or even uncomfortable if you are used to self-criticism. But with repetition, those words begin to create a new internal foundation. You start to respond differently to challenges. You begin to trust yourself a little more. And slowly, your inner voice becomes more supportive than destructive. Before sleep is one of the most powerful times to shape this inner voice. At night, your mind becomes quieter. The distractions of the day begin to fade, and your thoughts become more influential. This is the moment when you can consciously replace negative thinking with powerful reminders that support your growth instead of limiting it. Instead of allowing doubt to take control before rest, you can choose to plant encouragement in its place. You can say simple but meaningful words to yourself, such as, I am learning. These words remind you that growth is a process, not a sudden achievement. You are not expected to know everything at once. Every experience, whether success or failure, is part of your development. When you accept that you are learning, you reduce pressure and allow yourself to grow at a natural pace. You can also say, I am improving. This helps you recognize progress, even when it feels slow. Improvement is not always visible in a single day, but it builds quietly over time. When you acknowledge improvement, you stop measuring your worth only by perfection and start appreciating effort. Another powerful reminder is, I am becoming stronger every day. Strength is not only physical, it is emotional, mental, and internal. Every challenge you face adds to your resilience, even if it does not feel that way in the moment. By repeating this statement, you train your mind to see difficulty as a part of strength building rather than something that defines your limits. And finally, I have the ability to create a better future. This thought shifts your mindset from helplessness to possibility. It reminds you that your future is not fixed. Your actions, decisions, and mindset all play a role in shaping what comes next. Even small changes can lead to meaningful transformation over time. These words are not magic. They do not instantly change your life or erase your struggles. Instead, they act as reminders, gentle but powerful signals that guide your mind toward a healthier direction. Over time, these reminders help you build a more supportive relationship with yourself, where growth becomes easier and self-judgment becomes quieter. The world may judge you, and people may doubt you. External opinions will always exist, sometimes supportive and sometimes discouraging. But none of those voices are more important than your own. The most influential voice you hear every day is the one inside your mind. It is present in your decisions, your reactions, and your silent thoughts. That is why it is important to make sure that voice encourages you. Make sure it gives you hope instead of fear, strength instead of doubt, and direction instead of confusion. When your inner voice becomes supportive, even difficult days feel more manageable. And slowly, you begin to realize that changing your life often starts with changing the way you speak to yourself. Lesson 4. Visualize the person you want to become. Your imagination is one of the most powerful tools you possess, yet most people use it without direction. They imagine problems, replay failures, and create scenarios that increase worry instead of clarity. But imagination was never meant to trap you in fear. It was meant to guide you toward possibility. When used correctly, it becomes a bridge between who you are today and who you are capable of becoming. Before sleep is one of the best times to use this power. At night, your mind slows down. The noise of the day fades, and your thoughts become more open and receptive. This is when you can gently guide your imagination toward a better direction. Instead of carrying random thoughts into sleep, you can intentionally spend a few minutes imagining your best future. Not a perfect fantasy, but a realistic version of yourself that is growing, improving, and moving forward. Imagine yourself becoming more confident. Not in a forced or unrealistic way, but in a natural sense, where you trust yourself more, speak with clarity, and feel more stable in your decisions. Imagine how you would walk, how you would think, and how you would respond to challenges with a calmer mindset. This simple mental picture begins to shape how you see yourself, even when you are not aware of it immediately. Now imagine yourself achieving your goals. See the process, not just the outcome. Many people only visualize success, but true transformation comes from also imagining the steps that lead there. Picture yourself working consistently, learning from mistakes, and slowly moving forward even when progress feels slow. When your mind becomes familiar with this process, it becomes easier to act on it in real life. Also imagine yourself handling challenges with wisdom and patience. Life will always bring difficulties, but your response to them defines your growth. When you repeatedly visualize yourself staying calm in stressful situations, your mind begins to build emotional preparation for real-life moments. You start reacting less impulsively and thinking more clearly because your mind has already rehearsed a better response. Your mind needs a direction. Without direction, thoughts scatter easily, and it becomes harder to stay focused in daily life. But when you clearly see the person you want to become, something important begins to shift inside you. Your actions slowly start moving toward that vision. You may not notice it immediately, but your decisions begin to align with what you repeatedly imagine. Small choices start reflecting your internal picture of growth. Great achievements often begin as a thought. Before anything becomes real in the physical world, it first exists in the mind. Every dream, every success story, and every transformation started as a simple idea, a picture, a belief that something better was possible. What separates growth from stagnation is not talent alone, but the ability to hold a vision long enough to act on it. But do not only imagine success in its final form. Do not only see results. Instead, imagine the habits, discipline, and mindset that create success. See yourself waking up with purpose instead of hesitation. See yourself choosing focus instead of distraction. See yourself completing tasks even when motivation is low. These small details matter more than the outcome itself because they shape your daily behavior. When you repeatedly visualize these patterns, your brain begins to accept them as familiar. And what becomes familiar eventually becomes easier to practice in real life. This is how mental preparation slowly turns into real transformation. See yourself becoming the person you know you can be, not a completely different version of you, but a stronger, more focused, more disciplined version of who you already are. Growth is not about becoming someone else. It is about becoming your potential in action. Your future begins with the thoughts you choose today. Every night, before you sleep, you are either reinforcing doubt or building direction. When you choose to visualize with intention, you are not escaping reality, you are shaping it. Lesson 5. Forgive yourself before you sleep. Many people are far harder on themselves than they would ever be on anyone else. They speak to themselves with a level of criticism they would never use toward a friend. They replay their mistakes in their mind, overanalyze their failures, and hold on to moments they wish they could erase. Instead of allowing the day to end naturally, they carry emotional weight into the night, turning rest into reflection and reflection into regret. This habit slowly builds internal pressure. Every mistake becomes bigger in memory than it was in reality. Every failure feels heavier than it actually is. And every moment of imperfection becomes something the mind refuses to release. Over time, this creates a quiet burden that follows a person even in their sleep. But carrying guilt every night does not lead to growth. It does not improve the past, and it does not prepare you better for the future. It only drains your mental energy and keeps you stuck in yesterday. Growth does not come from punishment. Growth comes from learning. When you truly understand this, your relationship with yourself begins to change. Mistakes are no longer signs of weakness, they become teachers. They show you what did not work, what needs improvement, and where you can grow. Failure is not the end of your story, it is simply feedback from life, guiding you toward a better approach. Before sleeping, forgiveness becomes a powerful act of emotional release. It is not about ignoring responsibility or pretending nothing went wrong. It is about accepting your humanity. It is about understanding that you did the best you could with what you knew at the time. And now, with more awareness, you have the opportunity to do better moving forward. Forgive yourself for being human. You are not expected to be perfect in every moment. You are allowed to make mistakes, to learn slowly, and to grow through experience. Perfection is not the requirement for progress. Awareness is. Forgive yourself for the things you did not know before. There were moments when you made decisions based on limited understanding. That is part of being human. As you grow, your awareness expands, and what once seemed unclear becomes easier to understand. But you cannot judge your past self with the knowledge you only gained later. Forgive yourself for the moments when you were still learning. Learning is not always smooth. Sometimes it involves confusion, trial and error, and unexpected outcomes. Every person who has grown in life has gone through this same process. You are no different. You are not behind, you are in progress. When you begin to forgive yourself at night, something important starts to shift inside your mind. The emotional weight you were carrying begins to loosen. Your thoughts become less heavy. Your inner dialogue becomes less harsh. And slowly, you start creating space for peace instead of pressure. Tomorrow gives you another chance. This is one of the most important truths to remember before sleep. No matter how the day went, no matter what mistakes were made, tomorrow still arrives with possibility. A new morning does not judge you for yesterday. It simply offers you another opportunity to try again. A new morning, a new beginning, a new opportunity to make better choices. These are not just comforting words, they are reminders that life is continuously moving forward. You are not stuck in one moment unless you choose to stay there mentally. Your past can teach you, but it does not have to control you. This distinction is essential for emotional freedom. The past holds lessons, but it should not hold your identity. What happened before can guide your growth, but it should not define your worth. When you learn to forgive yourself before sleep, you allow your mind to rest without emotional resistance. You stop carrying yesterday into tomorrow. And in that space of acceptance, you create room for healing, clarity, and quiet strength that builds over time. Lesson 6. Prepare your mind for tomorrow. A successful day often begins long before the morning arrives. It does not start when you open your eyes, check your phone, or step out of bed. It begins quietly the night before, in the final moments before sleep, when your mind is still soft, open, and able to shape the direction of the next day. What you think about before sleeping can influence how you wake up, how you feel, and how you approach everything that follows. Before sleeping, take a moment to think about tomorrow. Do not rush this process or treat it like a task to complete. Instead, allow your mind to slow down and gently focus on what truly matters. Ask yourself a few simple but powerful questions that bring clarity to your thoughts. What is the most important thing I need to do? This question helps you identify priority over distraction. It brings your attention back to what actually matters instead of everything competing for your energy. Then ask yourself, what kind of person do I want to be tomorrow? This question is not only about actions, but about identity. It shifts your focus from what you will do to who you will become. Do you want to be more focused, more patient, more disciplined, or more calm? When you set an intention for your character, your behavior begins to align naturally with that vision. You are no longer reacting randomly to the day, you are moving with purpose. Finally, ask yourself, how can I make my day meaningful? Meaning does not always come from big achievements or major events. Often, it is created through small, intentional actions. A meaningful day can be built through focus, kindness, learning, or simply staying consistent with your goals. This question helps you move beyond routine and start thinking about value. It encourages you to live with awareness instead of autopilot. When you take time to reflect on these questions, something important begins to change inside your mind. You create clarity. And clarity is powerful because it removes confusion. Instead of waking up with a scattered mind, unsure of where to begin, you wake up with direction. You already have a sense of what matters most. You already have a mental map guiding your day forward. With this clarity, your mind feels more prepared. You are not starting from zero in the morning, you are starting with intention. This reduces stress, improves focus, and helps you make better decisions throughout the day. Even small actions feel more purposeful because they are connected to a clear thought you set the night before. As a result, your actions become more intentional. Instead of wasting energy on unnecessary distractions, you begin to move with awareness. You are no longer just reacting to whatever comes your way. You are choosing how to respond based on the direction you set earlier. This simple shift can gradually transform the quality of your daily life. It is important to understand that small preparation creates big changes over time. You do not need a perfect plan. You do not need to organize your entire future in one night. You only need a few moments of reflection, a few clear thoughts, and a simple intention. Consistency matters more than intensity. Even small nightly habits can slowly reshape your mindset and your results. You do not need to transform your entire life in one night. That expectation often creates pressure and disappointment. Real change is not instant, it is gradual. It is built through repetition, awareness, and small improvements. You only need to focus on one better choice at a time, one positive thought, one small improvement, one intentional decision that moves you slightly forward. Over time, these small choices accumulate. They begin to shape your habits, your mindset, and your identity. What once felt difficult becomes familiar. What once felt confusing becomes clear. And what once felt out of reach slowly becomes part of your reality. In the end, preparing your mind for tomorrow is not about control, it is about direction. It is about giving your thoughts a gentle path to follow so that your life feels less chaotic and more intentional. And when you consistently practice this, you begin to realize that meaningful change is not built in one moment, but in many small nights of quiet reflection that guide your future forward. Lesson 7. End your day with peace. Before you sleep tonight, there is something important you need to remember. No matter how the day went, no matter what you experienced, and no matter what emotions you are carrying right now, you are not defined by one bad day. A single day cannot represent your entire life. It cannot capture your full potential, your future possibilities, or the journey you are still in the process of building. One difficult day is simply one chapter, not the whole story. You are also not defined by one mistake. Mistakes are part of being human, not proof of failure. Every person who has ever grown, improved, or achieved something meaningful has made mistakes along the way. What matters is not the presence of mistakes, but your ability to learn from them and continue moving forward. A mistake is an event, not an identity. It does not decide your worth, and it does not limit your future unless you allow it to. You are not defined by your current situation either. Where you are right now is not where you are meant to stay forever. Life is constantly changing, and your circumstances today are not permanent. Many people feel stuck when they look at their present moment, but they forget that time is always moving. With time comes opportunity, and with opportunity comes change. Your present situation is just a snapshot, not a final destination. Your story is still being written. This is one of the most powerful truths you can hold in your mind before sleep. It means that nothing is fixed yet. There are still pages ahead of you that have not been written, still experiences you have not lived, and still versions of yourself you have not yet become. What you see today is not the ending, it is only a part of the unfolding process of your life. Every sunrise brings another opportunity. Each new day is a chance to begin again, to try differently, to think differently, and to act with more awareness than before. Life does not punish you for yesterday when a new day begins. It simply offers you another opportunity to grow. The sunrise is a quiet reminder that endings are never final and that renewal is always possible. Every night also gives you a chance to reset your mind. Sleep is not just physical rest, it is emotional and mental restoration. It is a moment where you can release the weight of the day and allow your mind to reset itself. When you let go of overthinking, regret, and pressure before sleep, you create space for clarity to return in the morning. A peaceful night often leads to a clearer mind the next day. The peaceful thoughts you create before sleep become the foundation for tomorrow's energy. Whatever you think about in your final moments of the day does not simply disappear. It influences your emotional state, your mindset, and even the way you begin the next morning. That is why ending your day with calm, acceptance, and positivity is so powerful. It prepares your mind for a better beginning. So close your eyes with hope. Let your final thoughts be gentle instead of heavy. Rest with confidence, knowing that you are still in progress and still capable of change. Believe that better days are possible, even if today did not feel the way you wanted it to feel. Hope is not denial of reality, it is the belief that reality can improve. The person you want to become is not created in one moment. It is built slowly, through small daily decisions. Every thought you choose, every habit you practice, and every mindset you maintain contributes to that transformation. Change does not happen suddenly. It happens quietly, over time, through consistency. And one of the most powerful decisions you can make is choosing what thoughts you allow into your mind before sleep. Because in those final moments of the day, you are not just ending your day, you are shaping your tomorrow. Final reflection. Your mind is your garden. Every night, you have the chance to plant new seeds inside your mind, seeds of courage, seeds of gratitude, seeds of confidence, and seeds of hope. These small thoughts may feel simple in the moment, but they are quietly shaping the direction of your inner world. You may not notice the change immediately, but growth in the mind is often silent before it becomes visible in life. Every positive thought, every moment of reflection, and every act of self-belief is creating something powerful within you. Over time, these mental seeds begin to influence how you see yourself, how you respond to challenges, and how you move through each day. That is why the final moments before sleep are so important. They are not empty. They are foundational. Tonight, choose peace instead of worry. gratitude instead of complaint, and belief instead of doubt. Because your tomorrow is influenced by the thoughts you choose today. Sleep with a peaceful heart, and wake up with a stronger mind. And remember, every night is not just the end of a day, it is the beginning of a better version of yourself.